Hi, everybody. This is Bill from Berlin Center United Methodist. This is the Gospel of John study. We are on week 7. You can join us at any time, so we're glad you're here. This is day 2 of week 7, where we're going to be looking at John chapter 12, verses 12 through 19, and then we'll look at some questions that follow it. So let's hear the word.
The next day, the great crowd that had come for the festival heard that Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem. They took palm branches and went out to meet him, shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel." Jesus found a young donkey and sat on it, as it is written, "Do not be afraid, daughter Zion. See, your king is coming, seated on a donkey's colt." At first his disciples did not understand all this. Only after Jesus was glorified did they realize that these things had been written about him, and that these things had been done to him. Now the crowd that was with him when he called Lazarus from the tomb and raised him from the dead continued to spread the word. Many people, because they had heard that he had performed this sign, went out to meet him. So the Pharisees said to one another, "See, this is getting us nowhere. Look how the whole world has gone after him."
Okay, so I'm going to now read a little bit of it's called Understanding the Word on page 93 of the book. It says, "The presentation of the triumphal entry in John 12 is more succinct than some of the synoptic accounts. In the synoptics, we are told that 2 disciples are sent to find Jesus a colt, or donkey, to ride on, and we are further told that they had just come to Bethany. Now this should ring some bells. It is very unlikely that they would have gone randomly and said to just anyone that the Master had need of it. But if they went to Bethany and knocked on Lazarus' door, they would get a ready reception, and it would be known immediately who the Master in question was. We are told quite specifically in Mark that Jesus said, 'Go to the village ahead of you and ask.' Comparing the 2 stories with one another makes better sense of both of them. In John, we are not told about the request of the animal. What we are told about is palm branches, not mentioned directly as palm branches in Mark. There it says branches from the fields, which could mean all kinds of sort of things. Again, the John 9 account is more circumstantial and specific. Some scholars have said there were no palm trees in Jerusalem at this time, which may be true. It doesn't really matter because palm branches were readily available in Jericho, and the Galilean pilgrims would mostly have gone through there and up the Jericho road. Palm branches were the symbols used to celebrate the Maccabean victory, retaking Jerusalem during the Maccabean Wars. Waving them was quite specifically a symbol of military victories, and it may well have signaled what crowds thought of Jesus getting on a donkey and riding into town like a king. This is the only occasion in the entire ministry of Jesus where he intentionally elevates himself above the crowds. The evangelist relates the story to Zechariah's peaceable king, and Zechariah 9, verse 9 is appropriately quoted. Jesus is even called the King of Israel in this presentation. The explanation, Hosanna, and blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, were regular pilgrimage sayings, part of the Psalms of Ascents in Psalms 120, verse 34, which were regular road songs of the pilgrims as they sung their way up to Jerusalem. In verse 16, we have a clear admission that the disciples did not understand all these things. And indeed, it was only after the crucifixion, resurrection, and ascension that the light truly dawned, and they began to see how the scriptures had been fulfilled in Jesus, particularly during the last week of Jesus' life. Again, we should note verses 17 and 18, where these events are specifically related to John chapter 11. the news about Jesus' spectacular raising of Lazarus was spreading by those who had seen it or heard about it, and the crowds were going out to meet Jesus on this occasion, giving the Pharisees more heartburn. Let's now take a look at the questions for what we just read and heard about. Question 1. Why do you think Jesus picked a donkey rather than, say, a war horse? Take a moment to read Zechariah 9. How was Jesus living into this prophecy? And question 3. What did the palm branches signal? Do you think it would have made the authorities even more nervous when palm branch waving accompanied riding into town on a donkey like a king? Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's reading, and we'll reflect on these questions and tune in tomorrow as we'll look further into John chapter 12. Have a great day.